try this in 60 frames, see how it looks. A long-awaited update, and it's always going back to the engine bay because this is where all the party happens. This is like an actual update versus like a mashup or just quick update, whatever. So there's a lot that's happened on the car, quite a few changes, because I think the last one I did, like official one, was probably like 3 or 4 months ago at least. So I'll kind of just go over the details. The reason I'm making this is because I'm also making another video that I've had a lot of people asking me on like generic parts that I've used that they can get from the junkyard, and cheap parts from like eBay and like Rock Auto and stuff. So I'm actually going to make a secondary video specifically for people that want to do something similar or want to even build a different car, but they want to know what stuff kind of like works together that I found out anyways. So I'm going to do that in a separate video, but this is just the actual update one. And I'm going to try to go over the stuff that I can remember that I actually did, because it's been so long since I've actually made a legit one. So first things first is I redid this whole entire area. I made my own little PCM mount there with just some random like aluminum and like bar clamps, U-bar clamps from Menards. That's literally where I get all this stuff from. And behind there, you can actually see, what's nice is this whole piece comes out. Like I can literally disconnect this, and it's 1 bolt, or it's 3 bolts. It's 2 on each side, and there's one back there that you can take an extension and go all the way down on. And you can literally take this whole, it's like a whole brick. It just comes right out. And this is where the battery obviously would go. So the fuse box is back there, you can see. And then there's also, you can see like those 30 amp right there. And I have it labeled for starter, fuel pump, and then let's see if I can get it. It says PCM on the other side. So those are the relays. And this can actually come off, this whole piece come off. And I can actually, if I have a relay with the fuse on it that goes out, I can actually just take this off. It's about 4 bolts. And then I can get my hand there and just replace it. So everything is here. The nice thing is, like I said, this is one big chunk. I can just remove the connectors, and I can actually just pull this whole piece out and do whatever I want with it. So this is the entire setup, and it's done. There's a tack module there. Last time I made an actual update video, I was still throttled by cable. I went to throttle by wire. And this is a tack module from like a 2003 or 2004 Silverado. And then the same thing goes with the throttle body. And then the pedal, funny thing is, I went to the junkyard months ago. Let me grab, let's come over here. There's a wife's new car, by the way. We got a Telluride. We got a Kia. I no longer am a GM guy. Well, I am, but it's a first GM. And yeah, some Lion beers. What am I looking for here? There we go. Another iPhone charging there. Let me pull this up here and see if we can see it. So that pedal there, if you look, you can see that it's cut. It's actually a Silverado pedal, not the actual pedal itself, but like the, I forgot what you call that module, and then like the spring and bracket. You see I drilled 2 holes, and I put up the smaller, I'm trying my best, pedal there. That pedal itself is from like a 2007 or 2008 Impala, like one of the V6 Impalas, like that they mass produced for everybody. And I cut it and I attached it to the Silverado pedal because it's tiny and it fits, as you can see. And I can still actually adjust it. It's got 1 screw in the top, and then I got to drill a hole for the bottom one, so once I set it. And I'm also down here, see if I can see it. Oh, please work. Yes, I got the brake rod in for the brake booster. And I got to, see if I can see it as well, I got to get a C-clip there so it stays locked. It's technically just sitting on there, so there's that little channel to put a C-lock. So that's all done as well as I also have brake lines to the stock brakes that come from the 2001 Buick Regal Master Cylinder. Those are copper nickel lines. I actually just bent up by hand. What I did was I just put like 1.5 inch exhaust piping on there that I have left, and I just basically bent it over by hand with that. And then I got the adapters and I flared it with one of those cheap, I guess you can call it cheap, eBay like metric kits that do double flare and bubble flare. And Those are 3/16, which are the same thing as 4.75 millimeter that they come with. So you can actually flare them, and I think they'll work. I guess I haven't checked for leaks yet. There's nothing in there. Yeah, it's gross. I mean, it's empty, but it's kind of gross. So now I have to get cleaned up. But yeah, it's nice because everything just kind of fits. It's kind of tight down there, and I can move that stuff around too. But yeah, it's away from the exhaust and it's away from the steering shaft. So I think that'll work. It gets it out of the way. So we'll see. I mean, the worst thing we can do is give it a shot. Brake booster. I have the line going to the T. I need to get hose clamps on there to the back of the manifold. So that's good to go there. I think I don't know if I had a catch can on there last time. The catch can's just sitting here. I'd like to remount it, but for right now, that's just where it's going. I think on my last one, I had this side done. Maybe not. For the dump, the wastegate dump, I got that side done as well. So that dumps right into the exhaust here on this side as well. And that's all set up. I got a, sorry, my hands are like going all over the place. The water pump was switched from the truck one to an LS1 Camaro for the fact that when I went to electronic throttle, it would hit the neck. There was a way I could do it. If I flipped it like sideways, it would work. And that required getting an adapter. And I tried to look for adapter for these cars or for like this. I could not figure anything out. I was thinking, like, was it worth just to spend like $75, $80 for the basic, like, cheap Rock Auto China unit that you can get and get spacers with it, then have someone like custom create me an adapter that would spin it? And I tried looking at ICT Billet, and they don't make anything, but it's something that you could easily make because they have them for like the Gen 4 stuff where you can like turn the throttle body. They have like different provisions on it and you can bolt it. It would be nice to have it with this, because if I had this thing like turned where this motor here, sorry, was like up over here, it worked great. It would actually work, and I can actually use the Gen 3 truck water pump yet. And something that would be kind of nice, because there's guys obviously that build a bunch of different stuff too. And being able to just take this thing and kind of like flip it around would be really nice to have. So, and then I had to basically, the spacers in here came with the vent pipe tap on it. So I'm actually using that because it's a lot closer. And then I just cap this off for the meantime, put this on. Basically what I'm going to do next is when I go to the junk here next, I'm just going to pull a new top rad hose from a Silverado, which is nice because it works perfect. I believe I still have to shorten it. So what I should do is either shorten it and get one of these that has a blank in it. But you know what, after just saying that, screw it, I'm not going to do that. That's worthless. That has no point to me. This should work just fine. Okay, anyways, I got the heater hoses into the heater core. I worked on that thing for so long to try to get it to unclog. It was just caked with just gunk, and I could not get anything through. It works okay now. It's still not up to par for my liking, so that is going to be something we're going to have to address later. But the thing is, it'll actually flow water through it pretty well. It's not bad, but that should be replaced. And what I think I might do is, obviously this entire interior is pretty stripped, and I'm going to have to just find a time where I'm going to say, screw it, we're taking the dash out and we're going to replace the heater core. If it works, I'm going to let it work. And if I start to notice that it just is getting cold, then we will address it at that point. But I think it'll work just fine for right now. I literally had a pump running that stuff with like Drano and CLR and vinegar and everything, just cycling it through and just pulling all the chunks and stuff out of it. It doesn't leak, so we're good there. But it just doesn't seem to flow as fast as I really want it to, but it's not bad. So we'll just leave that for right now. The other thing is, on the coolant side, I'm gonna come over here. Ow, that was my leg. We're gonna come over here. So what was I pointing at? So the radiator is capped. I'm actually gonna pull this off and show you. Thank you, Mac, one of the guys on the Sloppy Discord server. This is a blank, basically. It's a pressure cap with no spring, since these cars originally didn't have a fill on the radiator in the first place, and they used what this is basically is an expansion tank. I have a video that explains this on my setup. I have the pressure cap up here because this has to be higher than the rest of the cooling system on the car, otherwise you'll never get this thing bled correctly. I mean, you can if you can snake something down here that seals, and then, you know, fill up here, and then get everything, you know, pressurize it and fill it, and then basically lock it, put a cap. It's just a pain in the ass, especially when the radiator is lower than the vent ports up top. So the expansion tank here in the stock Corvettes is where it is in the first place. Mine were plastic, they're all cracked, so I bought this little $30 aluminum unit, and so far I think it'll work. The only problem I ran into, let's see if I can get this back on. Oh yeah, no problem. So what I ran into was I had this wrong. I had the bottom of this capped to where it wasn't going anywhere. And then I had it where I'm like, here, I'll just have, you know, fill it, and then it'll run down the line and go up there. Well, the problem with that is even though this is higher, and if you know anything about fluid dynamics that I freaking don't very much, even though it was higher and the fluid was going through here before it got up to the top, there wasn't enough pressure from the amount of water in the tank and it being that high. It's like how a water tower works, I guess. It wasn't able to, basically, when it snakes down, it comes up that little lip, it wasn't able to push water back up. So it actually, you could fill this and overflow it and it wouldn't go in there. So what I had to do was, and I was hoping to get this done today so I could actually drive this car to the garage this week. Spoiler alert, not gonna happen. Not this week. I know, that's just how it works. The fitting that I got is wrong because this is, it's not a 1/2 inch, or this is not a 1/2 inch. And this is, I have no idea, I have to read. I need to go in and figure out what the hell they are. So I stopped at actually Menards again to get fittings, and they were wrong. So I work in office this week, so I'll probably stop there and get it, and then I'll work on that this week, for our coming week, to get that finished so I can actually get the system bled. I already got a bunch of coolant in there all the way up to the top, and then I have that stuff down there. That is not piss. It might be piss. It's not. It's like Prestone, like fully concentrated coolant that works with everything. Fill that up, and what I need to do is this will be capped, and then this will be the feed for it. So that way, when I do fill this, because it's still at its highest point up here, I can still bleed it. It'll have enough fluid in here where it can actually push everything down here and get that situated. I do have this filled with some distilled water in there. As you can see, this is the overflow tank, even though it was the washer fluid tank. So I took the pump out. Sorry, I should got, let me grab a light so you can see, otherwise it's just gonna be a pain in the ass. I took the pump out and I just put a bolt in there and it's sealed. As you can see, there's a little water on there. So I think I might do is I might just pull it back out, and I'm gonna put some RTV on there, and then really seal that up. That way you can see there's the overflow going into the washer fluid tank. And you can see it's just disgusting all the way around here, but it's a drag street car, so I really don't care. I'm trying to think of anything else that I did. I got a new hose. So you can see that part number on there. It's a lower rad hose on this car, and it's nice that it actually connects in there, and then I have just a little splice in the center that goes to the straight neck on there. Then I made my own little bar here so it stays away from the exhaust. In the video it looks like it's hitting, but it's not. And that stays away from the alternator too as well. Excuse me. O2 sensors, got them in. I changed them over to where the PCM actually controls them. Like the P59s do that versus having like the case grounded stuff. These are the PCM grounded, and they had to use it as like a on-off run for them. The port here is still blank because I'm using that for my Delfino project, or the port here, the wideband sensor, the Bosch wideband sensor. I had PCM in there that I did like that little PCB creation, abomination, trash build that made everybody and their mom mad for some reason. I have no idea why. And I'm actually not putting it in this one. This is a separate PCM. I'm gonna make a separate secondary box that either sits like back here, since I only need a couple inputs off the PCM. So I'm just gonna make like a 3D printed box back here, put the PCB in it, and then just plug everything into with like the Hall Tech connector, or like the amp, they call them like an amp 34 pin connector that will basically do everything that I need. And then I'll connect it there. And then the only pins that go into here is to do like the ODB2 reading. So I have my gauges, and then also feed this information using the open EGR port and the fuel pressure, or the fuel tank pressure port as the logging mechanism. Because I actually, the Delfino project that I'm still working on, kind of on the side, actually has dual wideband support. So I'm actually gonna end up putting another one down here to have dual wideband, and then I can actually log in HP tuners using that way. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the exhaust. The box right there you see is, I should actually open that up on camera. That'd be kind of cool. I think we'll do that here. Not that anybody cares, but the exhaust on the car is, can you see it? Yeah, so there's my shitty flux core welding job, and it runs around. This is the driver's side all the way to the stock exhaust. There would normally be a resonator here in the center, but with the turbos being basically a huge muffler, that's gone. And then I still have the stock mufflers in the back, as you can see. So I still have to do the passenger side. I ran out of bends, so I got a swan bend to finish that up, and that is the goal tomorrow, is to finish that up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the, oh, this is something else I did. Serpentine system is done. I do need to get a longer belt. This is just a little bit too tight for me. Basically, it's at its max minimum. Basically, it's so freaking tight that you can't actually even really tension it that well. So, I mean, it's tension. You can't like tension it more because its minimum is like tight. So there's no like loosening it up. It is just tight the way it is. So I need to get about an inch longer belt. So I'm gonna take this part number and just go up about an inch or inch and a half or so. Get that. So that actually was pretty cheap. This is like a gate. This is like a Goodyear like Razorback I got, or whatever they call it. It was, I got it for like $7 from somebody on eBay, like free shipping. So that was a pretty good deal. So yeah, that's the pipe here. Let's open it up. Do I have anything sharp? Yes, I have my, let's try this. Does this work? This is my multimeter pins here. Just got this today, actually. Sorry. Hey, there. Oh, what is this? Is this actually steel? I ordered steel, I didn't order stainless. So it's definitely aluminized steel. I think so. Let's do a quick test. Good stainless, obviously. Yep. All right, sweet. All right, so yeah, I'll take that and I'll use a couple of these bends on here to finish the exhaust system. I keep closing this dang thing up. Come on. So I'll finish that on the passenger side. And then what I said I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the belt off the serpentine system. That way it's not trying to run the pump. It's not trying to run the power steering pump. Oh, that's something else that I need to discuss really quick. But I'm going to pull that off and then get all this stuff ready. This is all cruise control stuff that I have yet to do, and this is to the torque converter lockup, so that when obviously you hit the brake, it unlocks the torque converter, so I have to hook that up. There's 3 extra wires down here for the relays, and 2 of them I have to hook up yet, and one is to power the PCM to the that basically fuse block, and then the other one is for the starter. So, or no, I got the starter down. The starter and fuel pump are done. It's just a PCM. So once I get that situated, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire it up and see what it sounds like. It'd be really interesting since, like I said, these turbos really do a good job at muffling. I've never, this is my first turbo project. So it's really interesting to see how these things already muffle the way it is, just downpipes going down, and then now running to, excuse me, stock exhaust on this other than the resonator. So I'd be curious to see if it sounds like a stock Corvette would sound, or if it even sounds quieter. We'll see. I guess we'll figure it out tomorrow. I want to get that done, and I want to get this situated, pull that serpentine belt off, and we will crank it over and we'll let it run. So what was the other? Oh, so the power steering line, I'm still trying to figure out. I think I might just do PTFE, and everything is here. I can get to it underneath the car really well. It's a nice thing about this car. Like up top, it just looks like it's a tight mess. You can't get to anything other than like the stuff up here, but like the spark plugs underneath the car is so open. Spark plug changes underneath the car are so easy because you can get to everything, and they're just completely open. The frame on this thing and the cross member for the engine are so wide open, and having the C-beam just go that way, it leaves the undercarriage on this engine so freaking open that you can do almost anything you want. That's one thing I really like about these cars. My Firebird, anybody who knows F-bodies, especially like the 3rd and 4th gen, the 4th gens are terrible. Trying to get to the spark plugs in the back, especially number 7, is impossible. Or number 8 is impossible. 7's really hard too, but 8 is just terrible to try to get to. On this, getting up on a lift or just putting up on jack stands like this are again. They're on jack stands again. It's super easy. So yeah, that's the update here. It's ready to drive. Oh, that is the cooler line, as you can see, for the transmission. One fitting, I'm just waiting for that. I didn't like the way it was set up, so I disconnected it and waiting for the fitting. I just ordered it yesterday, so that'll come in. We'll get that situated. I can actually temporarily hook that up, so we'll do that tomorrow, just temporarily hook it up. And then, yeah, we'll start it and see what it sounds like. I'd be really curious to hear this thing. Oh, I don't think he watches. This is the last bit before I go. I don't think he watches. This is a Low Dollar Motorsports pressure and temp gauge, or a temp sensor. Matt, actually, from Sloppy Mechanics, gave this to me. Everything that he gave me for that contest about like the spoof on them, I've gotten rid of. I've gave to people. The only thing I have left is that sensor and a sticker from him. Everything else he's given me, I've given to people, and I'm giving that one away to Mr. Doug as a care pack. I had a bunch of valve or a bunch of rockers that I thought I had over there that I found out I didn't have. So I have like a Dolfino sticker I'm gonna send them. I'm gonna send them the Low Dollar Motorsports sensor. I'm gonna send them an ass load of P01 and P59 gaskets because I have like 200 of them. And then there's a PCB that I'm gonna finalize here for the next revision of Dolfino Revision 5 that uses like the Haltech connector and everything, and I'm going to assemble it for him and put it into a case for him as well. That way, if he wants to do stock stuff, he can actually do some cool piggyback stock stuff and learn at the same time with me, because I'm learning as well. It's just the hardware stuff I'm really good at. The programming and stuff is kind of so it'd be cool to send him something like that, and we can kind of play with it together as well. And it's like, you know, wideband control, boost control, it controls the valve. So, oh yeah, and that's something else. So once I get that stuff done too, there'll be like a Mac valve sitting right here, and it'll be control boost using the piggyback system that I'm putting together. So that is the update. That's a long one in my opinion. We're going on to almost 25 minutes. So you guys have a great weekend. I'm gonna get this thing situated with the exhaust tomorrow, Sunday, and I will make another video, just a quick one of how it sounds. Yeah, so you guys can hear it. Otherwise, I mean, we're gonna get ready to drive this thing here pretty soon. Because, oh, I know I keep saying last thing, the shifter is connected and it shifts. So we're good there too. So yeah, it's all coming together. We're getting ready to finalize this stuff up, and then we're going here. I need to get a main hoop bent, and I'm gonna start notching the tubes, and we're gonna start building the 6-point in this car, and then start putting in the floor and the seats and everything like here, and get it in there, and steering wheel and everything else, and wiring inside. So we're moving this way now, and it's really good. So sorry I haven't done much work on it. Got a third kid coming, and setting that stuff up has been taking a lot of my time. And when he is born in May or June, he's gonna take a lot of my time too, but I'm totally down with that because it's gonna be fun. Enjoy it. So you guys have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.